Today is only Monday. It's only been a crazy day at the shop, folks, just to get things started off for the week. We had an upset customer. Got her to turn around to be very, very happy. We're going to explain what happened there. Also, what did the Melter bring us to today? Bring us, not we bring in them. I'm going to explain about that one as well. For more interesting stories, so you don't miss out, you must be subscribed. If you're not, come join us so you don't miss out. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for sharing the videos. Let's get into the video right now. Today, I'll start off with the upset customer. Upset customer comes in. Not mad at us for anything we did. Apparently, her boyfriend stole some money from her. She had some cash in the safe. In the cash safe. They had two separate safes. The boyfriend apparently didn't have the combination for the silver and gold she has. Boyfriend probably stole about, she says, about $1,800 out of the safe. She's not that old. She's a little bit younger than me. She was born in '88, so that makes her about 37. Give or take, if she's had her birthday yet this year. I don't know that. So, she went to her safe. She needed some money for a light bill. She needed $300 for a light bill. And she's crying, you know. The boyfriend stole, but the boyfriend didn't steal all the money. She still had some money left, but she didn't have enough to pay the light bill. She questioned me and says, I never take nothing. Well, they're on bad terms. Whatever. This is what she's telling me. And she brings in a tube full of 1998. Let me correct that. She brought in a tube full of 1988 Silver Eagles. So I'm asking, well, how much does she need for her light bill? She says, well, I need about $300 for the light bill. And she's very upset. She's very emotional. So the 88s, we can pay a little bit more. We can pay $42. We can sell them for about $45, $46. Very nice coins, okay? BU shape, still in the original tube. You know, I said, but we can do it two ways, I said. I said, we can buy it straight out, or we can make a loan offer to you, which you would have to pay the $5 paperwork fee, the $1 bag fee, plus the 3% fee on top of the loan for 30 days. I said, we can't go any more than 30 days. I said, those are your basically two options I can help with you. I said, I understand you want to keep these coins. This is what you just told me. And so she says, well, I'll be able to have the money by the end of the month. Is there any fees you can waive? I said, so not really, because we just can't. I said, 3% is not a bad rate. I said, we're giving you 30 days. I said, I can't really waive any other fees, the $5 paperwork fee or the dollar bag fee. I said, this is not going to work. I said, so she says, okay, let's do the loan. Process the paperwork, and she says, she turned very happy. You know, she says, is there a way you can take payments back for the loan? I said, we really would like to, when we do this type of thing, we really would like to take it all back all at one time. So we really don't want to make a payment thing. I says, because we're still going to charge you the 3% interest no matter what, how fast you pay it off. I said, you got 30 days. I said, if you want to come in 2 weeks and put down $150, then pay the rest of it off with the interest on top of it, that's fine. And the $6 fees on top of that, that's fine. I said, oh, you can do $156, pay those small fees up. I said, pay those small fees in the middle, 2 weeks, come in, pay it off. I said, I will work with you that way. She was very, very happy. She said, I'd rather do it that way. So I did up a little bit more paperwork for her. So we have it all in writing. You know, it stinks that people have to steal, folks. And it really stinks, you know, that people have to, they put other people through the hardships. And I don't know what's going to make with her and the boyfriend. I think that she's completely done with him. She thanked us. You know, she was very, very happy. at the end, but she was very upset when she came in. This is what we deal with, folks. This is what we deal with, not on a daily basis. We hear stories like this quite often. And it's sad because it's people that live in your area. And, you know, yeah, it is what it is. But, you know, it's just sad for, you know, for people to steal and stuff like that. And it's a lot of it going on. Everybody needs money right now, but I understand, but it's not the way to do it. All right, it's not the way to do it. And it just, you know, she's gonna be able to pay us back. We're not, and we gave her a fair price. We gave her, you know, she put up 8 eagles. We gave her the $300 for 8. It was like 7.12 eagles. And I said, you're gonna have to give us 8. I says, we're gonna give you the 300 on the 8. I said, I can give you a little bit more, but I said, I don't want to tack on another fee on top of that little bit. I said, that's what it's going to cost you, a little bit more money on that. I says, I need 8 today. I need 8 eagles today for the thing. Or I can give you a little bit more on the backside and just pay, you know, pay it. She says, no, I'd rather do it with the 8 and take what you're going to give me. I said, now, I want to be crystal clear, I said, if you don't come, I said, let's say you come in and pay in 2 weeks. You pay us to $156. You don't come back in, it lapses. You will get your $150 back, but you're not going to get your $6 back for the paperwork. I says, the eagles become ours. I says, that's when we make that crystal clear. You would get your $150 back. She's fine with that. So when we do these type of transactions, folks, we don't do them a lot. We really don't like doing this. But we do offer it from time to time when people get in a pinch, like in this situation. It's not something we offer all the time. It's really, we're not known for this. But we will do it from time to time to help people out. And it stinks. I mean, it stinks. This case scenario with this, what happened with that. But again, it is what it is. So we try to help every single customer that walks to the door. And sometimes you can't help them out. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can't please everybody. Sometimes you can take a bad situation and turn it into a good situation. Speak about good situations before I go on to the other stories I want to talk about. Good situation. Pinbacks, you guys know they're my sponsor. Check them out. A lot of times they have the best prices in town. I mean, why not check them out? You guys see me doing time and time after again. Pinbacks has this on sale. This, well, not really on sale. That's the everyday price. It's like $40 cheaper for Pinback than at Max or SD or whatever. A lot of times Pinbacks can beat out everybody else out there. Sometimes they can't because if somebody else is running a sale. But I'll tell you what I can guarantee with Pinbacks is you're going to get the best customer service out there. Thank you, Pinbacks, for sponsoring my channel, Coin Shop Chris. Thank you to the viewer out there, because it's not possible without you. Check Pinbacks out, folks. Let them know that Coin Shop Chris sent you. If you want to pay more, I guess that's your business. If you want to pay less, shop Pinbacks. Let's move on to what our bowling dealer, not a bowling dealer, our melter brought in today. They were going through some junk in the junkyard. They found a little canvas bag. It had $50 worth of mercury dimes. Now, the bag was a little bit wet, so they dumped their contents out. And they also found 8 rolls of war nickels in the bag. The nickel papers were not wet. Who knows who tossed it there? If someone did a dump truck full of metal, it was in the scrap metal pile to begin with. They were just trying to move this here, move that there. Hey, they looked at the cameras. They couldn't see anybody tossing that bag. Don't know. It was a little bit buried. Don't know how long it's been there. Somebody didn't know what they were doing, apparently. They just thought it was metal maybe and just dumped it. So we made the guy an offer. He took the offer. Guy's tickled pink. He says, my cameras only go back 14 days. I says, well, by the look at I says, do you have the bag? He says, yeah, I got it in the truck. So bring me in the bag. I just want to see. I says, this was all in this bag? He says, yeah. I says, well, the bag's not even moldy. I says, not been there for too long. I said, because it would have a little bit of mold on it. I said, it's not wet with the nickel wrappers. So we called up I said, let me see if, I says, I might pay you a little bit more on the nickels. Just hold on if you don't mind. I says, I got to buy that wants these nickels very, very badly. So I called the guy who wants the war nickels. He said, I'll be right in and get them. So I said, I can pay you 10 cents on the melt. Charge the guy over 10 cents over melt. So now we got some Mercury dimes in there. Probably won't last long. The shop's going through them now. See if there's any key dates on them. We don't need the guy's phone number who brought him, so we already have his phone number. So we told him if we find a key date, we will let you know. And so he's tickled pink. He made a little extra money off that, but it's just weird right now, folks. Be careful if you're doing recycling and stuff like that. Make sure there's no change. Be careful when you donate clothes to Goodwill or Salvation Army or wherever you go through the pockets. Because time and, there's stories out there that people find cash, the workers find cash in Goodwill clothes or Salvation Army, and you have no idea who really donated it to you. Yeah, there might be camera footage of it, maybe someone bringing that item in, but if someone's bringing it in a garbage bag and dumping it in the bin, who knows where it came from. Check your pockets before you donate your stuff. Check stuff before you throw it in the metal scrap yard, folks. Check everything. Be cautious out there. One more thing I wanted to talk about. I was talking about eBay in this morning's video. And I understand people sell on Etsy too. I choose not to buy on Etsy because there's too many scammers out there. Etsy does not do a good job of taking down the bad sellers. Even eBay at times has a hard time trying to keep up. And I'm not defending eBay. eBay needs to do a better job as well. But there was another couple comments in the comment section, and they have good points, but I'm going to explain. Their comments was, well, I sell on Etsy, and they charge 13% to sell on Etsy. Well, yeah, they're giving you the platform to sell on Etsy. They're putting you and the buyer together. They're finding you the buyer for your item. And it could be anything that you're selling on Etsy or eBay. Somebody else said, I won't sell on eBay because they charge 15%. Again, folks, the same thing. These companies are you're using their platform. They're finding you the buyer where you're the seller. You go to an auction house, it's going to be the same thing. Most of the time, the seller pays the auction house to sell it. Sometimes even there's a buyer auction fee on top of it, depending on the auction itself. They're giving you the platform. Just like this platform, YouTube. I create videos. Yes, I make some money off my YouTube videos. We all do. They take a portion of the ad revenue too, folks. They're giving me, all the YouTube creators, a platform to use to get the information out to you folks. Same thing if you do Uber. Same thing if you do Grubhub. Same thing if you do this DoorDash. They're giving you the person who's ordering the food on those services. You're using their platform, of course. Look, if you don't want to pay the eBay fees when you sell, you don't want to pay the Etsy fees when you're selling, where else are you going to go? Yeah, you could go to a yard sale or a flea market and rent the table for the weekend, pay whatever the fee is, but you're going to get your local buyers. That's what you're going to be doing there, and it's going to take more time out of your day, sitting there all day. Are you going to sell? I did all right when I was doing it in Maine. I mean, I didn't make no home run money, of course. No. So there's fee for that. You could do it I guess you can do it in an antique store. There's sometimes people have cases of coins in an antique case. I looked into that too, folks. That's like $90 plus a month. How much you going to sell to make that back? If you don't sell anything, you get still paid the 90 bucks. Yes, so these companies like eBay, like Etsy, are giving you the platforms. And it's not cheap to run these platforms. They're giving you the tools to use to find you the buyer. You know, yeah, you could put an ad in the newspaper, but how many people read the newspaper? That's going to be a charge of fee too. Again, that's local. You bring it to a coin shop, they're going to have to make their money as well. People come in and say, oh, selling for this on eBay. Or selling this for on Etsy. I see people bring me their phones all the time telling me this stuff. Okay, they got this, but they're going to take, these companies are going to take this off. You're not going to get this. Then if you go over $600 a year, they're going to send that to the IRS, and you're going to pay taxes over $600. You bring me $800 worth of silver, there's no paperwork. There's no paperwork for a lot of it anymore, folks. There's some paperwork for if you sell so much at some time. I'm not going to get into all those numbers today. Yeah, there's paperwork for that. But on the other hand, you know, we got to remember, these companies are doing us a service. YouTube is doing us a service. You know, YouTube has made me money and has saved me money. And how YouTube has saved me money is, I told you guys about my refrigerator problem. It was the evaporator. Someone would have came over to my house, probably wouldn't have the pot on the truck, would have to order the pot, which is $28 by the way. Yeah, it was a pain in the rear end to change it out, because you could take all the drawers out, whatever. But I watched a couple YouTube videos, and I probably saved myself $350 for a service call, and the person to come put it in. Same thing when I fixed the water filter on my grandmother's refrigerator too. Not the water filter itself, the one that pumps the water up. That was a $60 pot. Guy comes over, says, I can come back over, but it's going to be $389 for me to do the job. If I come back, there's no service call for this, for me telling you what's wrong with it. Well, I got on YouTube, folks, found what pot it was. I told my grandma, I can fix that myself. And guess what? The company, GE, calls back and said, you want us to come over? I said, nope, I'm going to do it myself. Then they were squawking, well, you need to pay us $89. I said, well, that's not in your paperwork at all. I said, good luck collecting your $89. Sorry, not going to happen. Never heard back from them, because it was not in their paperwork at all. So yeah, YouTube gives you the platform to make money. YouTube gives you the platform to also save some money. The information is out there, folks. And there's a lot of good information on this platform. But there's also a lot of bad information on this platform as well. I'm not going to get through all that. But at the end of the day, I think most YouTube creators, whatever the subject matter is there to help you out. You know, I'll talk about another channel real quickly. Jeremiah Babe. Maybe you guys have seen him, maybe you haven't. Put in his name, Jeremiah Babe. He talks about the stock market. He talks about what he's going through, trying to buy a house. And he you know, I watch him not every single night, but quite often I watch this gentleman. And I like the guy. I really like the guy. I think he's down to earth. He's been warning about the stock market crash. People go on his channel and troll him and this whatever. But he really breaks it down, and he wants to get out of California so bad. But he says on his channel, not to take away from his channel whatsoever, but he said he's going to buy a house at the right price. He's doing it smartly, folks. I give the guy a lot of credit for putting his channel up there. So thank you, Jeremiah Babe, for, you know, doing your daily, nightly videos every single day. You bust your butt as well. A lot of YouTubers bust their butts. Some of them just do it, just come on here to make a video. well, just whatever. I try to bring you guys facts. I try to give you guys what's going on at the shop. I try to be transparent on this channel. I show you what I'm buying. I show you the paperwork on it. And I got no problem doing that, because I'm eating my own words. I'm telling you guys the coins that I'm buying as well. If you folks have any questions for me, please reach out to me in my email. I'm always happy to help you folks out. Another channel I want to recommend, I should have said it before I went on to all that. Check out my good friend Sobriety and Silver YouTube channel as well. He does a heck of a job on his channel as well. So, another good channel to check out as well. Let them know that Coin Shop Chris sent you to both channels. Guys, I'm trying to bring you guys the best people on YouTube that I watch too. I'm being transparent. You guys know I talk about Sullivan Meadow with Sal. He does a great job. You know, I'm not going to list the bad ones that I don't care for. You guys probably already know who they are. So, with that being said, I will always talk about good channels on this channel that I like. And that's why I'm going to run this channel. When I feel like the person's doing a good job, they're going to get a call out on this channel 100%. Thank you for watching, folks. We will catch you tomorrow. We will keep an eye on the markets. We'll keep an eye on silver and gold for you. And I'll keep you updated what's going on at the shop. Again, thanks for watching. Coin Shop Chris is now out.